Gear is really important. A painter has a really hard time making great art without a paintbrush, a canvas, and paint. And you will have a really hard time making it as a filmmaker without this gear. In this video, we're going to be talking about the most important gear that you're going to need as a filmmaker, as well as some really helpful add-ons that can boost your production quality.
So let's do this thing!
The camera is the most important piece of equipment you will need as a filmmaker. Without it, you can't make films. Whether you're making an Instagram reel, a YouTube video, or a full-out movie, you're gonna need some sort of camera. Depending on what kind of content you're making, there are several different types of cameras that filmmakers commonly use. On the lower side of the spectrum is the phone. So the great thing about this is you probably already have one or have access to one. There have been entire movies shot on an iPhone 7. This is not an iPhone 7, but if it were, you could shoot a movie on it. So stop making excuses, get out there and make some stuff. So a step up from that would be the DSLR, or the digital single lens reflex camera. These have great depth of field, image quality, color, and a ton of other things that make it the #1 choice for freelance filmmakers. A step up from that would be a super expensive, amazing quality film camera. Behold. These are usually what feature films or super expensive short films are shot on, but they only do video and not photos. So if you're hoping to become a photographer, do not get a film camera. Kind of makes sense, but just to clear that up. Whichever one you choose should work just fine. Which brings us to the next piece of gear on our list.
Dinky home setups.
Do not judge.
Imagine being in a tutorial without animals. Unless you want to be shooting films like Buster Keaton without any sound, you'll probably want a way to record. Since sound is half of the viewing experience, it's pretty important. You most likely want to invest in a separate audio recorder. Hey, numbskull.
Shoot.
Ow! Some microphones like lavalier mics connect directly to the camera, while others like boom mics connect to an external audio recording device like this thing. There are lots of different types of microphones to choose from shotgun mics to lavalier mics or lavs to even this handheld one. But it is a wide topic for another video. Overall, just buy the best microphone that you can that fits your budget.
Lighting is one of the most important elements to film. And if you're not making a film with light, then you're making an audiobook. And if you are making an audiobook, then the best resource for you to use is today's sponsor, Audible.
Got him!
The only way for the human eye to process the things that it's seeing is light. Now, there are a variety of different lights that you can use, anywhere from small handheld lights like this to huge studio spotlights. Not that we have any of those. We've just barely scratched the surface of lighting, and if you want more in-depth stuff, then we can make another video about it, so just let us know. We can do that.
So you have a camera, a way of recording audio, and some lights. Now you need some way to edit together what you've captured. There are tons of devices compatible with editing software, but in general, a computer is going to be your best bet. And don't worry that your computer is not good enough, because we started out with this. But we got better. Right?
Come on, it can't be that bad.
It sure could!
So now that we've taken a look at the essential gear that you have to have, we are going to be moving on to the essential upgrade, which are things that you don't necessarily need, but they're really, really helpful. So an ND filter is essentially just a pair of sunglasses for your camera. It allows you to have motion blur without sacrificing exposure or depth of field.
Another great tool to add to your kit is a stabilizer, which can really improve the quality of your video. If you've ever tried to shoot a handheld shot without one, you'll know how bad it can look. Anyone can get a stable shot on a static surface, but the tricky part is getting the motion down. Now there are two types of stabilizers, gimbals and Steadicams. Whereas gimbals use electronics to stabilize, Steadicams use counterweights to balance. The main benefit of which, they are less expensive. In the end, either one is a good choice. But the Steadicam has a steeper learning curve because of the extra human element.
The next option on our list can get pretty expensive pretty quickly, but drones are a great investment to put in your toolkit. Once you know how to fly these things, you can get establishing shots, sweeping landscapes, and pretty much anything else that's above ground level. It's pretty amazing to think that you have the same technology that can get a helicopter off the ground and hold it in the palm of your hand.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
Although you don't exactly need a tripod, it can be useful in situations where you don't want to have to hold the camera as still as you can, or put it on something that you're afraid of it falling off of. A good example of this is establishing shots. Besides, if you're filming by yourself, if you don't have a tripod, it can be a huge hassle to set up.
To finish up, the last upgrade you should get is a solid editing computer. And here's a quick tip. It doesn't happen overnight. The first editing device that I had, don't drop that, is this, as in, we didn't do any editing.
I was gonna get ruined it. Stop.
My upgrade from that would be this computer. We used iMovie to edit the first short film that we edited, and it was amazing. Amazing. Anyway, and then we finally upgraded to this. Friend of the chicken, baby. I still use this, so I'm not gonna throw it here. And then my upgrade from that was this.
You gonna throw that?
And my newest computer that I'm editing on is this big boy. It was a great investment, and I'm really loving the editing system now. You can spend tons of money on editing machines, but if you play your cards right and get some used parts, you can get a really solid editing computer for just a couple $100. This will drastically speed up your editing workflow and save you a lot of time and frustration.
We covered a ton of gear, and it was pretty difficult to narrow the list down. If there's any equipment that we didn't cover that you thought we should, let us know in the comments below.
Now it goes without saying that you aren't going to be able to get all of this gear just overnight. Filmmaking is a process of building up over time. Gear is really important, but the person behind the camera is where the magic really happens. This will drastically.
How did you catch that?
I don't know.
Get back.